Hey guys, so excited for this episode. One of the questions that I get constantly, and a question that I just got the other day was, how do I create my funnel to get leads? And this is something, a funnel has many, many purposes, and a funnel can feel really overwhelming, but think of it as dating. When you first see a guy at the bar, or maybe the guy first sees you, that's your social media. That's where they're like checking you out. When they actually come over and give you a number and say hello, that's when they've actually opted in. So when you're thinking about nurturing, thinking about going on those next dates to eventual marriage, that's actually when that person buys from you and becomes a raving customer, raving client. So I want to talk about a simple funnel that every coach needs, no matter at what level you are, beginner coach, brand new, feeling overwhelmed, or whether you are trying to up level your business and go to that next, tier of financial success and success with your clients. This is a funnel that has not failed anybody. When we talk about this, you're actually going to realize that this funnel has been promoted to you so many times, and you've actually gone through this specific funnel, whether you're signing up for an application or a discovery call, an application for a discovery call. We want to talk about what are those questions you need to have on that application or discovery call questionnaire. And then what exactly is this simple funnel for you to adopt so that you get leads and that you also nurture those people? Because remember, a person just opting into your freebie isn't going to secure that ideal client. You want to make sure that you wow them. One thing that I also hear is, Rachel, should I do this as a free funnel? Should I do this as a paid offer? I'm going to say this. I always went from the avenue of like, give a lot, wow that person, blow them away, give more than other people. And I always did free funnels. I do, of course, have a lot of low cost options in my offer suite. So that has always been extremely helpful for that new client that's looking. But by the time they've gone through a training that I've put on a download page or a series of trainings, they are usually blown away by the content that I'm not only talking about, but I'm showing them the exact steps, providing a solution to their main problems, which for my ideal client is time and money. For your ideal client, there's going to be, of course, different problems, different solutions. But remember, that freebie is a mini solution. That training is a mini solution. So this person falls in love with you. All right, I'm going to take a break from talking. I'm going to introduce, of course, Michelle Ellis, who's here to talk about this funnel that she's gone through as well, that she's put together. So Michelle, talk to me. Are you that kind of person that likes to go with the free or likes to go with the paid option? What do you see that works? And of course, I know it's different maybe for different scenarios.
Yeah, I think you should always have a free something, right? Something that somebody can opt into. That's really going to be the best way to build your list and get people to know who you are. And it's also a way for you to just have that information exchange of like, this is what I'm an expert in, and here's some proof. So, and people are also just quick natured and looking for fast ways to learn something. And so, a free checklist or a free download, a free guide, a free PDF is the thing and has actually been the thing for the last like nearly 10 years. Like it's definitely, I would say, it has stood the test of time in the sense that nobody's abandoned it. No matter how many other funnels like ClickFunnels or anyone else will create, it's the one that people still always maintain and always use because it's great for list building always.
Well, and if we think about the types of funnels, I mean, the types of freebies, I think a lot of people ask me this question as well. A freebie could be a challenge, could be a checklist, it could be a series of handouts, it could be a PDF, it could be a free training. There's so many different quiz. Exactly. There's so many different types of freebies, and each one of this funnel is going to work for each one of those types of freebies.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that when they opt in with a freebie, right, on your thank you page, you have a lot of room to play with. So on that page,
Also, it's also like right away what they're interacting with. They're like, they opt in. You hopefully have an email
Have their
marketing
attention.
system. You have their email marketing system. They opt in and they immediately get redirected to a thank you page. And
Yeah.
on that thank you page, it's the perfect real estate
Yeah.
up level that experience that they're having so that they become wowed.
Yeah. Yeah. So you could take that freebie to the next level and offer like a workshop on demand right there, instant access, nothing they have to wait for or opt into. The beauty of that is that if you're running ads, specifically, it's going to cost you less to have someone opt in for a freebie as opposed to a workshop
Or a
webinar training
masterclass, right?
style. Yeah,
Mhm.
where you're hitting sometimes $18 a head, just for someone to register. But when you lead in with like a PDF or a download of some kind, freebie, even a free challenge, it's nice to be able to take them to freebie, to personalized thank you page with an additional training that's in sync and in alignment with the problem they had on why they downloaded the freebie to begin with. So, as a health coach, if you're, talking about hormones and your free guide was about hormones, then it would make sense that that training on that thank you page that's instantly accessible is also on hormones.
But guys, you can also do that freebie as a free training. For example, Dr. Vadi, who I interviewed on our podcast, she bought the 21-day hormone detox. She uses it as her fertility program. What she did is she did a 2-minute preview, like a preview of what that training would be, like
Yeah,
a little sales video, a 2-minute video. And she was really pushing to get people on YouTube and Instagram. So on Instagram, she was doing reels that brought people to her training. That training was one of the PowerPoints within the program she used on endocrine disruptors. She did that training, and on the thank you page, when they got that training, right under, she had a link to her discovery call. She said what was great about that training is it pre-qualified her ideal client to, one, get to know what type of training Dr. Vadi does, what type of coach she is, what to expect when they get on that discovery call. Because she also was like, if this resonates with you, I have a program that's going to exactly help you and help you with your fertility issues. Again, a big problem. She's got a concrete solution. And so when she got on that discovery call, she was able to convert people easily because they had just been wowed by the training. They had just been taught by her. And she said that 90% of the people who got on the phone call had watched that video.
Yeah. So, and keeping in mind with that, on that thank you page, once they download, right? Let's say you have the workshop on the top, you still have room on the bottom to have either an embedded application or a link that goes to an application in like Acuity or whatever you use, even Google Forms, to qualify the people who are booking calls with you. I've also seen it where people just put their calendar directly below. They book the appointment first and then fill out the form. So really, it's a matter of personal preference on that. No matter what, you want some questions answered before you get on the phone with them so that you have a brief understanding of their problem, what they've tried, how it relates to what you're offering. And if you have a qualifying question there about what they're willing to either invest in or
Right.
Yeah.
Wait, Michelle, this was straight up the question that scared the bejeez out of me. Like, oh my God, how am I going to put are you willing to invest? How much do you have to invest? Or like my single session cost this much. Working with me for 90 days cost this much. I was super scared to ask them. I thought I was going to lose them.
Yeah, what I actually did, and I still do actually on like my questionnaire, is I say like my base packages start at, and I put that lower level, and then I ask like, the question of, are you willing to, get started at that price? And it's a yes or no. And then I know I have some room to play with, in the sense of if someone comes in, okay, they're ready for at least my base package. So I want to get on the phone with them. And then from there, you see if there's anything to upsell to. You could do it either way. So you don't always have to start with the high price. I always personally felt a little uncomfortable starting with the high price right there. So I just put like my base packages, and left room to play with, and really to really talk with that person on the phone. Like, did they need the extra level of support, or was the base package enough for them?
Right. And one of the things that always helped me is I kind of developed, well, not kind of, I developed this system for understanding people's problems. I wrote down 3 types of clients that I had. People who are coming to me with major autoimmune, major food allergies, which took a lot of in-depth individual work. I always knew that those people didn't just, if they had issues for a long time, like back to childhood, I knew those issues did not happen overnight. They would qualify a longer package to work with me. So I always said, these are like 7, 8, 9, 10 problems. And then if somebody had like a 1, 2, 3, 4 problem, that was somebody that just, maybe this started last year. Maybe this started like 2 years ago with the onset of some stress, and they were having bloating. They were having maybe nausea after they were eating. There weren't like any glaring major problems. And I knew that most often people were doing like 5 things that were pretty harmful to their body without them knowing, or they were eating foods that were creating inflammatory responses, but maybe they didn't even know that they were intolerant to that food. Then when I got into that middle level, I knew that that person usually was right for my middle package. And I had 3 different packages to offer. I had a higher ticket to work with me, I had a mid ticket, and I had a single session. So my mid ticket would be great for somebody who needed like a 30-day jump start. I was able to understand those types of questions, those types of answers from them, because I had those really good questions on my discovery form. Now, I will tell you guys straight up, this is none of the stuff that I did when I first started coaching. Everything that I'm telling you today is what I wish I would have had. I did have, of course, freebies. I did a lot of freebies, a lot of challenges, a lot of summits.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, though, I think that we did do it, but it wasn't in this automated process. Cause like, I remember asking people questions. There was like a pre-qualifying call to the discovery,
Right.
and it was like, okay, well, let's run through these questions, but there was nothing there that offered this beauty of automation to
Yeah.
get that information before the call. Like, it just wasn't set. We didn't have that back then. It wasn't set up that way, at least, going back like 9, 10 years ago. Now you can ask those questions in advance, and like they come to your email automated, and it's
Well,
not.
and I think even back in the day when we did automation, unless you had a really sick team, you were
Yeah.
trying to figure it out as a beginning coach. And
Yeah.
like as a beginning coach, my bloopers were that I couldn't even figure out the automation, and I had to do everything on the thank you page.
Yeah.
My
Yeah.
thank you page became this amazing real estate. I was like, hey, here's your freebie, book a session with me. Here's the latest blog. I gave them a few different calls to actions without
Yeah.
confusing them.
Mhm.
But I knew that follow-up,
It was nurturing.
that was nurturing. And I knew that follow-up sequence I would get to when I would figure out automation. Now, I will tell you guys, make sure that you get a virtual assistant. We talk about outsourcing, what are things that take you down? What are things that pull out your energy? And this is definitely one of them. If you don't know how to set up your opt-in freebie with a thank you page that has the video and your questions, even if you don't know how to use Acuity, or, maybe you're doing this in Practice Better, or what are some of the other
Yeah, they
Acuity?
have Calendly for
Calendar,
calls.
right?
Yeah, Schedule Once, I think, is another one, right? There's so many different schedulers. Use the one that, if you're brand new, use the one that's free. Just,
Yeah.
little overhead as you can get
Well,
for.
and do some testing, because I always say the best platforms are the ones that we understand and the
Yeah.
ones that we can actually figure out. But just to go over this freebie funnel again. So you can have the freebie, they opt into the freebie, just to recap, like Michelle said, if you're doing Facebook ads, it's going to be cheaper if they opt into a freebie, cheaper if they opt into a quiz. You can, of course, bring them to your Facebook group. That's another cheap and expensive way. And you could have your freebie in the Facebook group with that training. But you want to redirect them to a thank you page that has the freebie, a little training. So imagine how cute you have this training, like, whoa, before you download your freebie, watch this training.
Yeah.
You have the, and then you have the
Application.
discovery call application.
Mhm.
So Michelle, I know we covered some of the questions we were having it kind of in conversation. What would be some questions that you would put there?
Yeah, right off the bat, I would want to know exactly like what they're struggling with, how long they've been struggling with their issues. How does it make them feel? I'm always one to like really connect with people emotionally. So I don't want to just know like, okay, you're dealing with bloating or whatever. Like I want to know how it really makes them feel, no matter what problem they're facing, what
And
they've
maybe
tried.
even give a few examples, because I
Yeah.
think
Yes.
sometimes people get stuck, like word stuck. I know when I'm signing up for an application like that, and I'm overwhelmed by all these different problems that are running through my head. Sometimes it's good to say, like, does this take away from your intimacy with your partner? Does this take away from you traveling? Does this take
Mhm.
you being present with your
Yeah,
family?
you can have like the yes or no question to make it easier for them too. Definitely asking them what they've tried before. This way you can get a little bit of a background on,
Yeah.
you know, in the health world, have they tried certain diets? Have they been to certain doctors? Have they tried certain pills? What have they tried that hasn't worked for them? I think is really, really important.
Yeah.
And also, have they ever hired a coach before?
Coach. That's
Yeah,
a
like
great
this is
question.
totally
Have
new.
you ever worked with a coach um, or a healer in any other way, in
Yeah,
any other
absolutely.
capacity?
Yeah. And then, you know, what do they expect from the call? I've always asked questions insinuating that they were signing up to work with me.
Right.
So it would always be like, what do you expect from our working relationship together? Things like that. I would kind of jump the gun there. But I would do it in a way that it was like, well, if you're booking a call with me, you've done this, you know, you've been to a workshop of mine, or you've done something, like you want to take that next step. So what are your expectations of me when we do talk, so that I can fulfill those, you know, and also understand more about them. And then of course that, you know, investing question, like, are they ready? And you can really word that any way you want. It can be like, are you ready to take, then if you want to avoid the asking of the money, like, are you ready to take the next step? And, you know, and
But
just
ask for the money. Go for the
yeah.
money question.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you can say like, are you ready to hire, you know, a health coach, you know, like, you know, and things like that. And just kind of getting it, you know, a background on them. Not, I would say like, try to keep it to 7 to 10 questions
Right.
maximum. You know, they shouldn't feel like they're filling out like a endless job
You know
application.
what? We also have that. I think you and I even did it together. We have the podcast on the part 1 and part 2 on discovery call. So
Yeah.
we did a deep dive in that discovery call. I want to actually pivot for a second, because I think one of the biggest questions, not I think, one of the biggest questions is, how do people find me? Because we're talking about that funnel, but I want to talk about that showing up. I know there are so many people who make the mistake of spending so much time, whether they're buying a done for you freebie from us or a done for you workshop, you're still investing your time to get it ready and to get it up and going. That isn't just where it stops. You have to be showing up to promote your freebie. You have to be talking about what are the problems and how does the freebie solve that problem. You can do, of course, mini videos on YouTube showcasing the freebie, talking about the benefits of the freebie, talking about who it's for, talking about why you put this freebie together. The same can be done whether you're doing TikTok or whether you're doing Instagram Reels. And of course, the same can be done in a Facebook group community where you're actually diving in. You can do a poll on what are the biggest problems, and you can do a training on that freebie. So see how they're kind of intermeshed, where that training can be done on the thank you page, but you can also do some mini trainings around the problems, so that you're bringing them to that freebie. Don't not do that portion of the list building, because I think it's so easy to get caught up in making a beautiful freebie, but we have to actually promote it. So write down 5 ways you're going to promote your freebie. And especially if you're launching, make sure that you're doing that promotion of that freebie a solid month before you're launching, so that can get people to your list. Use that freebie as a catalyst to lead people into the pre-marketing of your program.
Yeah, I think that's so important, you know, and do some storytelling, share your story online, talk about it, do reels, you know, just go out there and actually don't be afraid to reach the people who have these problems that really need your help. I think that's the biggest thing.
Well, and I think too often, and this is such the mindset part of coaching, we feel that our story isn't enough. And so to go back and say, I have to tell these mini stories, these micro stories about my problems, what it was like, a client's problems, do a little case study on a client, talk about, have the call to action, like, hey, head over to my site and download this freebie. It also comes with a training. And step into that place where you need to show up. Your story is your story. You're the only one that can tell your story in the way that it really needs to be told. And just remember that our clients are sitting there struggling. They're on Google. They're trying to figure out left and right, typing, what do I need to do? And you're that person that comes with that information, that solution.
Yeah, and relatability is key. You know, once they can relate to you, then they feel like there's that sense of connection.
Well, and then you start to get raving clients. You
Mm-hmm.
start to have people who are like, I need to follow this person because they just show up. It's like they're in my head all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, to focus on your funnel, focus on the marketing of your funnel. Make sure you start doing with imperfect action, start messy. There's no way to get started. I heard this amazing reel the other day of this little girl, and she was like, in order to be a superstar, you have to start. You don't have to you don't have to make it perfect to be a superstar. You just need to start. And it was like this little, it was this little adorable girl. And I just thought to myself, yeah, you have to start. You can't create magic if you don't start. And maybe it feels like you're starting when you're doing your freebie and you're doing all of this kind of action work, but that true action work comes in the showing up. So if you're scared of doing video, get out of that fear of being judged, that fear of perfection, that introverted behavior, and start practicing so that you can attract your ideal client, make money doing what you love, and out there helping people. Michelle, do you want to add anything else before we close out?
Yeah, just don't hesitate. Just go out there and do it, you know, and just to echo what you said, like, just don't let those fears hold you back, you know, go out there and just start every day, do something small towards your goal, and then you'll eventually hit it.
Isn't that true? I always think when I took my social media break from adrenal fatigue and just needed that time, I had to get back in the groove
Yeah.
of showing up on social media. And it took me a little to really get my mindset right, because it had been a while since I really showed up and did lives and did videos. And so it's just about practice. No matter at what level you're at, it's about practice. It's about getting comfortable saying what you need to say. And if you're not comfortable, go do something like Toastmasters. Go put yourself in a situation where you have to speak out. You have to share your story. You have to share, steps or a little training. Do something like that to get yourself in the groove. And trust me, it will work. All right. It's been a pleasure to be with you guys. I hope this was helpful. I hope this resonated, and I hope this solved any of your questions that you have about creating a simple funnel. All right, guys, we will talk to you soon. Take it easy. Bye.